If you got it, say amen. Hear, O Israel, the Lord our God is one Lord. Thou shalt love the Lord thy God with all thy heart, with all thy soul, and with all thy might. And these words which I command thee this day shall be in thine heart, and thou shalt teach them diligently unto thy children, and shalt talk of them when thou sittest in thine house, and when thou walkest by the way, and when thou liest down, and when thou risest up. And thou shalt bind them for a sign upon thy hand, and they shall be as frontlets between thine eyes, and thou shalt write them upon the post of thy house and on thy gates. You may be seated in the presence of the Lord. Today I want to talk about God, the guest, the tenant, or the owner. God. See, the guest, the tenant, or the owner. When you think about a guest is a person who spends some time at another person's house and then eventually leaves. For some of you, they don't leave soon enough. And for some of you, they can stay all week. But being that they are guests, they're not going to be there permanently. And that's one of the reasons why we have young people who really don't even know who Jesus is. Because in the home, God is just a guest. He's just a guest. And it breaks my heart sometimes when I talk to young people and they have no clue when I'm talking about Christ. They understand what I'm saying about church. They can't even comprehend the simple things of being saved. And Jesus dying on the cross for Calvary. We really honestly, in my eyes, as a faith, have lost a generation. We really have lost a generation, and it's going to take extreme measures to get them back to God. Now, a tenant is a person that rents from another person for a period of time, and they're going to be there longer. These are called carnal Christians with carnal homes. God in the house is seasonal. Carnal Christians are those that know God, have accepted him, but still have fleshly ways. But the last one is the one you want for your house. You want God to be the owner. You want him to have the deed. You want him to possess the house. You want him to be the main influence of your family lifestyle. And just because you don't have a family yet, but you have an apartment, I'm still talking to you. Because we're talking about the place where you dwell and spend most of your time. And in your home, that ought to be the altar to where you offer up worship, praise, sacrifice, devotion, meditation, consecration. And that ought to be the place where you and God meet often. As long as sin rules unchecked in any home, the forces of evil that many of you know too well will dominate the place that we call home. If it is unchecked, that means if you don't confront it and do something about it, it's going to do something about you. It's going to do something to you. It's going to do something to your family. It'll do something to your marriage. It'll do something to your place that you're supposed to feel most secure in. If it goes unchecked. Think about it. In a home where you were raised up, that's where you've gotten the most influence. That's where you learned how to dress. It may not be the same today, but you got influence. That's where you learned about cooking. That's where you learned about anger management. That's where you learned how to have relationships and how to adapt to mommy, daddy, brother, sister, cousin, uncle, auntie. It's where you get the most training. And if that's not where you get God the most, you are shortchanging your family and yourself. It has to start at the home. If you don't have it in the home, you're going to have a broken nation. If you don't have it in the home, you're going to have a broken community, a deteriorating neighborhood. You're not going to have what you need to be stable in life. And for those of you know, some of you, all you needed was a good home. But it's more than a good home. You need a godly home. You need a godly home. Home, it shapes your perspective. It shapes your worldview. It determines how you look at the world. It determines how you think you got here, where you're going, how you're going to change. What is my purpose on earth? To some degree, it starts at home. Now, some of us have realized that home didn't do a good job. I'm just being real. Some of us, as we got older, we realized either how good or how bad we had it. And so once we got the truth for ourselves, we had to get it and apply it for ourselves. Some of us didn't grow up with a godly mother or a godly father. They didn't pray in the home. Some of y'all went to church, but Jesus was only talked about at church. He was never talked about at home. And that's the biggest problem, when you can turn your walk off with God after 2:30. And you wonder why the kids don't have any reverence for God. Because the parents don't have any reverence for God. Now look, I'm not talking about a perfect family, because in the Bible there's no such thing as one. In the Bible, God used what he wanted to use. He used broken families. Jacob, who became the founder, one of the founding fathers of the 12 tribes of Israel, he was a little shady in his family. But God still used him. Rahab was a liar, but God still used her. So there's no such thing as a perfect family. It's about being a real family. You don't have to have a perfect family. But it's about God having influence in the family that you have. Now, when we look at the ancient households, they did not look what they look like today. Ancient households were more like a small community. They didn't have the intimate structure that we have of 2 to 6 people in a home. In the ancient Hebrew days, it could be 50 to 100 people. And that was called a household. They depended on each other for livelihood. They worked together, maybe in agriculture or brick making or whatever it may be. But it was different than what it looked like today. But let me bring something out. In these households, there was one man. There was one man that was the authoritative figure in the family. Now, it's a sad day when we can only have about 2 to 6 people and one man can't rule that. We talking, look, when you talk about Abraham, and if you really look into the text, his household was a mass of people. His household included Sarah. His household included his children, his servants, his herdsmen. He was rich. And he ruled his household. Now look, the man determined which God the 50 to 100 people worshiped. The man determined, okay. He determined, because in that day and time there were a lot of different gods. Well, in this day and time there's a lot of different gods. And you see you see how broken the families are when we don't have fathers in their place like they should. Let me show you that I'm just not talking out the side of my neck. But in Genesis 18:19, for I know him that he was, now this is God talking about Abraham. He says, for I know him that he will command his children and his household after him, and they shall keep the way of the Lord. Notice he talked about Abraham. Genesis 35:2. Then Jacob said, once again, it's the man, unto his household and to all that were with him, put away the strange gods that are among you, and be clean and change your garments. Joshua said in 24:15, and if it seem evil unto you to serve the Lord, choose you this day whom you will serve, whether the gods which your fathers served that were on the other side of the flood, or the gods of the Amorites, but in whose land ye dwell. But as for me and my house, we will serve. Just to show you I ain't crazy. Look, Ephesians 6:4. And ye fathers, provoke not your children to wrath, but bring them up in the nurture and admonition of the Lord. We need more men, as Brother Mathis would say, to step up. Now look, if you are a single mother with a child, you are the father figure. You are the leader of your home. I'm going to get back to that later, because I know they was thinking, well, we don't have a father. It's your responsibility until they get one. No, I'm going to stay right there. And guess what? Protect your children. Don't add any man or woman as an addition to your family because you lonely. Your children's, what they grow up under should not be compromised because of your flesh. Your child's godly stability is worth more than just putting a ring on it. If he ain't the one, keep it moving. Because what happens is they let Ricky in the family. Ricky ain't saved. She thinks she gonna change him. She thinks she gonna bring him to church one time, and because he cried at the altar, everything's about to be all right. But guess what? Ricky says I do, and Ricky keep doing Ricky. And now you got little Danielle. Now you got little Anijah. Now you got little David acting like Ricky because Ricky in the hole. And now you at the abortion clinic. And now you at the prison because of the fool you married. I'm saying like it is. Why is this happening again? Why is my family broken? Look at the one you allowed in the family. And if I could just stay there to all my single folk, protect your unborn family. Protect your unborn family. You ain't got kids yet? Good. And if that Negro can't pray over you, if he can't speak life into you, if she can't get with you, if she can't worship with you, if she can't pray with you, you ain't worth me or the family we would have had. I've got to see some godliness if you're going to be connected to me and over my child. Now to my parents that have kids, don't let anybody around your kids. Don't let your kids just go anywhere. Because what takes you years to put in them, one person can snatch it out with some foolishness. Kid come home saying no. What you say? What you say? No. Why? I don't know what they do at your friend's house, but as for me in my house, I'm gonna knock your teeth out. You gonna come over here and get in the hospital messing around with me. Oh, I believe in beating kids. God chastises, we ought to too. As I said before, get past that they cute and that they're your babies and then you pop them. Because if you don't pop them now, life will pop them later. Am I right, Elder Arn? Pop him, punch him as Elder Arn do. Elder Arn punches. Y'all may not believe it, but she got a quick one too, and I done seen it. What? I'm like, oh, Elder Arn, you don't agree? Okay. Okay, Elder. We're going to leave that alone. I'm sorry, David. I'm sorry, David. I didn't mean to put you on. But hey, why you still here worshiping, praying, playing the drums, and loving the Lord? See, we need that authoritative figure in the home. So when that child starts smelling himself, they got somebody to answer to. that wickedness in them needs correction. And it's not, I'm not trying to abuse you. What I'm trying to do is correct you so that when you get out in the real world, you won't get this type of correction, because